You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. We're well into autumn. We're starting to see some fall color show up at the leading edge. It'll only get brighter, nicer as we progress through this. So you're out in the native landscapes. You've got your sumacs going into color, that bright orange and reds. You're seeing the sycamore just getting a tinge, just starting another couple weeks. It'll be in full glory. Just all that bright gold, those huge, big sycamore leaves. The maples are starting to show just a tinge. Cottonwoods are definitely starting to drop leaves. So we're in autumn. It's right on time. There's a couple things you should do in the yard as you see this season progress. One is fertilize everything in the yard. This is the most important feeding of the entire year is right now. So before Halloween, you really need to fertilize everything in the yard. And you're going to use a nice granular food. So it's something you're going to put down over the rock, around the roots, through the gardens. Just sprinkle it on, and nature will take care of the rest. It'll finally melt through as we rain, snow, as you irrigate, as things happen through the end of the year. It will slowly penetrate through the roots, and the plants will pick that up, store it in the root structure, and that's the food it's going to use for next spring's flower buds and leaf buds. It is so important. I mean, I can't emphasize it close to enough. If you want lilac blooms, forsythia blooms, if you want fruit tree food, blooms or fruit next year, if you want anything to show off next spring, you really do need to have this food. Your plants, you've been watering like crazy. It's been hot, and you've depleted the food that was sitting there around that root ball. This is not like the Midwest where you've got 8 foot of topsoil. You've got millimeters, if any, topsoil. And so the plants use this soil up. They use the food up stored in that layer, and they can literally run out of food. And so they can starve to death. Or you'll get smaller fruits, less flowers, no flowers. Lilacs are notorious. It takes a lot of energy to produce that huge flower that comes up on those lilacs in March and April. And so you need to fertilize it. And what do you fertilize with? 744 all-purpose plant food. It's an organic food I put together years ago, and it's cottonseed meal, it's some bird guano, some iron, some sulfur, just a magic mix that really is made for this elevation. And it's organic, so you're not going to poison yourself with a bunch of synthetic, petroleum-based fertilizers like a turf builder or some of those things. A lot of those they release so quickly, they go through that root zone so fast, the plant doesn't even have time to pick the food up. And so it's super important. Take your time, many times. It doesn't have to be this weekend. You should feel some urgencies, but as we progress closer to Halloween, you should feel the urgency. So just take when you're in town, you need something to do, spread it out, just put it in a hand spreader. And I just whirl it around. I just kind of go, here, be happy, be comfortable, go to bed, rest well, my landscape, and then bloom for me next spring. And so that's one. If you've got, people are surprised, we can actually grow azaleas, rhododendrons. What else? Deutzia. What else is like an unusual? Daphnes, gardenias, these fragrant, beautiful flowers. If you want those, they're typically spring bloomers. Again, you need to fertilize now to increase that bud. So your lilacs, they're forming buds right now. You can fertilize them now. You'll increase the size of that flower bud, and it'll kind of keep getting larger and larger until finally it erupts with new color, that fragrant, intense lilac fragrance in March, April, depending on your elevation. Also depends on north, south, east, west. Of course, your east exposures will bloom a little bit earlier because you get that morning sun. They just start to take off. So fertilize now. The other one to watch, don't prune those spring blooming plants. You're going to fertilize to increase the flower bud, and then you go in, or you have your landscapers go in, and they hedge things back, and they cut off all those flowers. And so you don't want that. So you fertilize now, enjoy the blossoms that come the first of the year. I mean, jasmines will start to bloom January, camellias, 1st of February. Then it's the forsythia, the 1st of March, and it's lilacs right after. Just progression of beautiful color that happens. Well, they're forming their buds now to show off. In a few weeks, literally from now, or a few months at the latest, those plants will start to bloom. If you're pruning them, you prune the flower buds off. It won't damage the plant. They don't care. Well, actually, they do. They like to bloom. They're bred. They just feel better about themselves and others when they bloom. So enjoy the flowers, fertilize them now, and then watch what you're pruning at this point. Right now, the only pruning I'm doing, only cutting, is I did cut back some of my big hedge plants maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And the reason I did that, they were just getting overgrown. I mean, they were just taking over. Oh my gosh, they're in the walkway. They're taking up the patio. I'm going, okay, that's it. You got to keep in your bounds, cut it way back, fertilized it. So it will start to have some new growth. So I get rid of some of that butchery cut Dr. Seuss look. I want it to look more natural. And so I cut it back aggressively, fertilize it, and it just will start to elongate before the winter really hits it and shuts it down. Doing some of that. I'm pruning back like grapes. They're done blooming. Not heavy, just those tendrils started to take over. They're up in the trees. They're going, okay, guys, listen. I love the grapes. I've enjoyed them, but you can't be taking over the entire garden. Come on, just selective. I'll do heavy pruning on those midwinter. I don't feel a hurry to do that. I want it to turn that color. If you prune back too soon, it needs that photosynthesis as it reduces, how do I explain this? As the foliage turns color, it's actually storing up the starches down in the root structure. So it's super important to let them go through that process and then rake everything up, clean up at that point. Also, if you're doing heavy pruning now, so a lot of folks go, oh, we need to prune the roses. No, you don't. Not at this elevation. Down in Phoenix or California, that's what you do. You do it by the end of the year, actually, like in the next few weeks. Here, we don't do that. We let them go through that fall color. We let them hibernate, and we keep the structure up of those roses through winter because it actually insulates and protects the heart of the plant. If we do get a harsh event, there'll be a couple kind of cold spikes and whoa, it's pretty cold. Oh my gosh. If you leave the structure up on those plants, it takes care of them and insulates them. It just kind of watches after them. It's something unique for the mountain area. So in the Midwest, you're cutting things back real heavy, especially borderline things, and then you insulate them. You're just trying to cut them back so you can make them smaller, so you can insulate them and protect them. Here, we don't do that. We get cold, but we don't get that cold. We don't get crazy Chicago cold. That's why you're here. It's nicer here. It's 4 seasons, but it's super mild. And so just enjoy the season. Enjoy the fall color. I know it's kind of messy. It's part of the whole gardening thing. It's a good life lesson. You'll kind of learn how to just live with the foliage as they drop. By the end of this month, it'll be full fall. By November is kind of the prettiest color. That's when the Japanese maples, the Bradford pears, ornamental pears, they start to turn color. All your fruit trees will be in full color. Just a pretty progression of plants. The most important thing I can tell you now, whether it's azaleas or camellias or rhododendrons, fertilize. I cannot emphasize it enough. If you want big flowers there's nothing showier than a rhododendron that's just in full color. The intensity of the color there's nothing like it. Maybe crepe myrtles come close in the summer, but for spring blooms, Azaleas and rhododendrons, they've got it. And you fertilize those to increase that flower size and have more of them. So you have brighter color next spring.
Water's October companion plants that grow well together are blaze maple, burning bush, spicy mums, and glamour kale.
Few flowers are more elegant in fall than Water's glamour kale.
The autumn colors are perfect for containers, beds, and borders.
And it's so easy to grow.
This unique Prescott selection is an award winner for cold hardiness, intense red, purple flowers in a frilly package.
You'll find bright fall flowers here at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.